Hello, kindred resistors against the dysgenesis of modernity. This is Govan here with GovanKilgour.com. I have a second installment of my trip over in Isle of Man. It's actually going to be 3 videos in the end. There's just so much content, and I wanted to show all the little adventures or side traveling between places that I got up to while over there. The entire thing is going to be made into one documentary. You're just seeing little snippets of stuff, and I had 400 clips, around 100 gigabytes of video of my entire trip over in the UK and Europe over the last 3 months when I was over there. And about half of that was just on the Isle of Man because of how much I was shooting there. I'm not showing every cross because that's going to be in the documentary, just on the Manx Christian crosses with the Viking runic inscriptions on them. And there's also a lot of other things going on as well, which I've included more in this and which won't be as prevalent in the documentary. Anyways, you can always check out in the links below my other channel where I focus more on spiritual type topics, particularly pertaining to the European peoples, and that is where I'll be posting that when it's up. So do subscribe over there because it also helps me out. I need to get to 500 subscribers on that channel before I can officially name it. It's just a new thing YouTube has where you can't do that. I think I'm around 200 subscribers over there, so got a little ways to go yet. And also check out a support page on my site below where you can purchase through affiliate programs that I have listed there. It's something I've incorporated in a lot of my work over the years. And then also I have donation options, signing up for Patreon, and that just helps me to continue putting out content. I know it's been very sparse the last month and a bit since I got back. Even when I was over in Europe, I wasn't posting too often, but I'll be picking up pace again, writing more articles. And to make that feasible, I do need the financial backing so that I can put more time into that. So I hope you enjoyed the second video with the clips of me on the Isle of Man. This is the landscape of Douglas, Isle of Man. It is quite an amazing cityscape for such a small population. The city itself could hardly be called a city. It's actually only 26,000 people. But that doesn't include tourists, which significantly inflates it, especially during the summer months. This particular hotel or building is quite beautiful. And the island, the whole island, is only 85,000 people, plus tourists. And there are tourists year-round, such as myself. So perhaps it's around 100,000. That might be stretching it in the winter, but it definitely, the population of the island doubles in the summer. And a lot of these buildings on the front of Douglas, in front of the beach, are hotels. But further into the city, or the town, you do see houses with similar styles that are very beautiful. To reach Trinian's chapel, you can take buses 5 or 6 from Douglas, and just make sure to ask the bus driver to let you off in the right location before Peel. So to get to Trinian's chapel, I got off at a bus stop that looks like that, coming from this direction, this way, which is Peel Road. And it's a very short walk over to Trinian's chapel, the roofless church. This is the parish of Marown, M-A-R-O-W-N. And it's basically halfway between Douglas and Peel, straight through the middle of the island. It's basically central to it. And yeah, there's an old mythology or legend that a mythological or I guess supernatural creature called the Buggane, or Bugane, which by description sounds kind of demonic, but this creature lived in the hill that is in behind here, the Greba Hill, or the Greba region, or Greba Forest, and it would come down at night when this church was first built and knock the roof off because it was offended that this Christian building and place of worship had come to the sanctuary. Now, I need to look into it more, but I'm sure this was just a nature spirit of some kind that opposed the imposition of the Christian monument or building and people coming there to worship. So it's literally like a 2-minute walk down the street here. I think this is an entrance to it here. Yeah, it is. Basically, if you look it up on a GPS beforehand and drop a pin to where you're going, and then, because it didn't come up on Google Maps for me, so, oh wow, this is an old gate. And there's a runestone up here. That's why we're coming here. There's just a single one from what I've heard. But apparently this bug-ain creature lives up in the mountain hill region there. There's some houses here too. It's actually Valentine's Day here, but there's still plenty of green grass. No leaves on the trees, of course. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to go in there or not. It does appear to be a little gate. Perhaps it's just to keep animals out. And it's welcome for us to go in. Okay, so no signs of a runestone. Runestone there. Okay, so not sure what to do next. Actually, is there a window here? Oh yeah, okay, so I've been all the way around and I just realized that is the runestone there. You know what, I might ditch my stuff on here and climb over. There's literally no one around. Who the hell's gonna... That's a cool peak over there. So something very strange happened here as I entered the grounds of the chapel, which, by the way, I went through all the official channels to gain access and permission to enter, and I would suggest you do the same. But the sound on my camera just simply didn't record, or it got deleted after I recorded it. And I don't know what went on there. It could have been a fault on my part, or perhaps there was some sort of electromagnetic interference from the bug-ain. I don't know. But as you can see here, it's an old building. It looks quite nice. This is the sign that just describes the site and the runestone cross. And here it is, number 139 in the collection of Manx runestones around the island. It's a fairly simple runestone slab, just basically the shaft of the cross. You don't see the cross section, which would have been higher up on the fragment. And I am a bit disappointed in the fact that this one, as well as some other runestones, I didn't show some of the ones like this, but they seem to be left out in the open, exposed to the elements, and obviously rain can cause a lot of wear and tear over the years. Now this one reads, Thorbjorn raised this cross. So overall, this was a really fantastic one to see just because of the adventure and mystique around it. It wasn't anything spectacular in terms of appearance. And I can't quite remember what I was saying at this point, but I was probably just reaffirming the importance of going through the proper channels to gain permission to access this site. So once again, it's Trinian's Chapel with Govan Hill or mountain in behind. And the town or village of Govan is that way. Glenvine, that way. Next, I caught one of the 5 or 6 buses in the exact same spot I got off and headed over to St. John's, which is the location where once a year, early July, they hold Tynwald's Day, which is where all of the Isle of Man's legislature gets together and reads publicly the new laws that have come into place. So this tradition, which is over 1,000 years old, of the speaking of the laws on Tynwald's Day, harkens back to Viking ages in the even before 1200, when the Vikings took over Isle of Man. And I suppose this structure is based on something of that time, if not, I've been the same ever since. Yeah, it's pretty neat. And as far as I know, the tradition is connected to how the laws were spoken every year in ancient Scandinavian law systems. So it's different from the Anglo-Saxon law in England and Scotland and Wales. But here's a bit of information about it. Tynwald Hill, the name of Viking origin, Norse Thingvollr, meaning Parliament Field. From time immemorial, the National Assembly of the Manx people has been held here on Old Midsummer's Day, 5th of July, formerly 24th of June. When Tynwald the Manx Parliament meets on the hill and all new laws are proclaimed. The terraced hill is said to be formed of soil gathered from each of the ancient parishes. If you wish to read that, you can. It's legible. Just pause the video. Next, I caught a 5 or 6 bus to Peel. This is the town where a Manx ancestor of mine was born over 100 years ago. What do you say? Should I take a hike up that big ridge? Probably not today. Maybe one day on a different trip here. Anyways, we're at the House of Manannan, a museum dedicated to the Celtic sea god by the same name, and the namesake obviously for the island. It's the Isle of Man, not because it's habited by mostly men, but because of the Celtic sea god who emerged from the sea. I'd have to actually read up on the lore on Manannan, but I believe it's by slightly different names, the same deity in Irish lore, Scottish, Welsh. They have the similar deities across the Celtic traditions. But I believe the story goes that he did emerge in Ireland and then came over to Isle of Man. So that would sort of be even pre-Celtic, maybe Neolithic beliefs, and he was adopted into that. I'm not sure. I'm just kind of speaking off the cuff from vague fragments from what I can remember. Once again, the Triskelion, the 3-legged emblem, represents the Isle of Man. And I guess this is the museum somewhere around here. This is the harbor for Peel as well. I think the museum is open today. I don't know which building it is. So I found it. It's clearly this building, which was around the side from the parking lot. Just on the harbor, downtown Peel. And in the distance is Peel Castle, which I think I'll go check out.
I know who you are. You are travelers. And you are here because I allowed the mists to part. For I am Manannan, shapeshifter, navigator, mapmaker, trickster, a god made of many hearts, and as ancient as the first people who lived on this island. You have come to hear the great story, which remembers the people who once trod this land and sailed its waters. The story of man. It's a story of real people who lived in places you can still find not far from where you stand now. They live still through the stories they want you to hear. Because why else do we tell stories if it isn't to hand down the history of our time on this earth? After the Celt came the Viking, and after the Viking came many others who coveted this island. They came from nearby lands, from England, Scotland, and Ireland. And when the seafarers of man crossed the oceans of the world, they returned with their stories. The story I will tell you is the story of man. It will take you to the places where the people who once lived here left their imprint. Visit them with me. They are out there.
So I wasn't sure what to expect in coming here, and I've definitely concluded that this museum is more geared towards bringing kids. As you can probably tell from the plentiful video and even just seeing stuff like this, it's very interactive. I was just in a room with a whole bunch of like basically toys, but at the same time it's amazing the detail and accuracy of the information that's available. It's just presented in a very child-friendly manner, which is great. If you have kids, I'd bring them here before going to the Manx Museum in Douglas. As an adult, it's more interesting. It wouldn't be interesting for a kid. I mean, a few parts of it would be, but this definitely has a lot more appeal, I think. I'm assuming this is a replica. Oh, 1979. Oh, wow. So this was actually done as commemorating a voyage that once occurred. If you feel the urge to read all this detail, pause the video. So this is a boat that actually... Oh, that's what was out front that I was shooting. It goes in through the window, the glass, this rope. Pretty incredible. Looks like the ultimate LARPing experience. You really want to get into that level of recreating an experience. Have at it, I say. Wouldn't be my thing to go on a voyage across the ocean in a boat like that, but it'd be fun for like a day or two.
Will Manannan's cloak of mist protect this island? Does a sea fog mind be lost? But a story mind who tells it. Good.
Oh my goodness.
Why burn a harvest when you can turn it to bread? Why make an enemy of a woman? when you can father her son and call him by the name of his mother's people. A Viking was a pirate until he arrived somewhere he wanted to be. To these shores he brought his own customs, his own gods and his own laws. A way of life that was taught in marriage with the Celts. And the blood that was mingled became Manx blood in the end. And the stories they told became another part of the story of man.
There's these stories being told by these figures.
Ah, little they may be, but middling for an old man. When all you strapping boys are taking yourselves off to Canada and Australia and finding jobs where you're keeping your feet dry.
Australia. There's an intense smell of spices. It's really nice in here. This is about the Isle of Man, I guess a little over 100 years ago. So the smell of all these different herbs is pervading the whole display, which is actually quite interesting. It's like sweet and spicy, but also savory, if you can describe it, an odor as savory.
I'm a fisherman, but because I'm caught with a few paltry gallons of brandy inside the mullet floats, I'm branded a smuggler. What I did was wrong in the eyes of the English law, but in no one else's eyes, particularly not the English gentry in the island who are keen on their cut-rate brandy and tobacco. They flee here to avoid paying their proper debts in their homeland. Aye, debts they owe to their fellows and to their country. But I'm the one who has to pay the price.
He who takes the risk, Finlow takes the rewards. It's the very principle of business. But we must all pay our dues. If you are caught on the wrong side of the law, you find yourself on the wrong side of the prison gate.
What compassion can I expect from a man who, despite all his wealth, sets man-traps in the orchards of his estates to catch those who petty pilfer his apples? There's no difference between us more, save that you sell to the smuggler and I buy from him. Neither of us should rot in jail, or both of us should. The wealth of this island has been made by the running trade this last 100 years or more. But it's the same old story. The small fish get caught and the big ones get away. It's a funny old fishing net that does that, isn't it? But will it ever change?
Next, I took bus number 3 to Onchan. Buses 10, 11, 12, and 13 will also get you there. So we're here in Onchan, or Onchan, I'm pretty sure it's Onchan, and it's a parish on the Isle of Man. Going to a single runestone, which is just in this church in the background here. But I just want to show where I got off the bus. Out there in the distance, there's a place called the Manx Arms. It's that white building with the sign, and I was just over on the other side of it. Maybe I'll show it when I go back there to catch another bus to move on. I'll show what the bus stop looks like. A lot of buses go through there, so you have actually a lot of options as to which one to take. I think there's 4 different routes that come through here. So if you're midday on any day of the week, really, it's really easy to get to and quick. And basically, as you come this way down the street, even if you have a bus map, on the bus map it shows that the Onchan stones are in this area. And there's a road that it looks like a one-lane road. I just see one row of cars going down. It's a straight road with a funny little jog in it, and right at that jog is where the church is. St. Peter's Church, actually, is the name of the church. And we'll zoom in to show what it looks like. It's pretty bright. I'm not sure how much will actually show up. I can't really see the screen that I'm looking through here. And with all these places, old churches, there's some very old gravestones which might be fun looking through. If that's your thing. And here's the entrance. I wonder if that's any particular figure. Probably St. Peter, come to think of it. St. Peter's Church. Immediately upon coming in, they're on your left. This is a picture of this right beside it, but it's cleaned up, I guess, in the picture. This is the runic cross with inscriptions, as you see on the side there. You can pause that if you want more information. Okay, so actually this picture is the rear of this, just so that they didn't have to have it standing up, I guess. That's the Onchan crosses. The bus stop I mentioned is just right here. The road I was speaking from earlier was down there, but yes, this is just what the stop looks like, just so you have an idea. In front of this pub. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, favorite, and share the video if you feel so inclined. And also check out the links below, both for where I'll be posting that documentary once I have that completed, of all the Manx runestones. It'll be one long info-packed video going through each one and describing the inscriptions there if you're really fascinated by runes. And then I'll also be doing a short documentary on the runes in the UK. However, that won't be up for a while because I actually missed a couple sites. I didn't even know about them, but I was also sick for a bit at the end of my trip in Europe, so I wouldn't have been able to get to them. But because I'm going back for a wedding and visiting family there in August and September, I'm going to do some traveling and catch a couple more of these sites, and then I'll be combining that with the earlier footage of the Ruthwell Cross and other locations where there's some runes on the mainland UK, throughout England and Scotland basically. So check out those links. Also check out the support page where you can help support my work financially, even if it's just purchasing something through the affiliates there. And any support is very much appreciated. So with that, I'll talk to you again soon. Take care, and may you spread logic and alt-right virtues among the Dildotariat.